Hello and welcome back for Snippet Saturday with the part 2 of the Snippet book. So In a Station of the Metro is the name of this haiku that I wanted to do. Now it's by Ezra Pound. So I wanted to do, haven't done a lot of text when it comes to embroidery, so I decided I did want to do that. And the method I used was I used a bit of carbon paper and put this where I wanted it to be, and then went over it with a pen, and then it came out with the carbon in the background. So this is how it's worked out. I hope it's readable. And I thought, I've been tossing up, do I put it on the inside in here or on here? And I just actually was thinking that I quite liked it there. So I've decided I'm gluing that on. I mean, I can add other bits of embroidery later if I want to. Just make sure I've got it roughly out to the edges as well as possible. And glue in the middle so I can actually stick down some of those little bits. The ends of the embroidery. So what I used was about a number 5 for that. Like a perlé, but it wasn't a perlé. I've just got them, they're from someone's stash, so I don't know who made it or what brand it is, but it's, I don't know, could be more like a 10 or a 12. But it's single strand, it's not floss, so that's what I used in the green. Right, so that's stuck down. Now, this is ready to be sewn now. That's definitely ready to be sewn onto the other side of this. Now, that's still not something I'm doing with now. Okay, so this is the haiku. The apparition of these faces in the crowd, petals on a wet black bough. Now, I just read that and I fell in love immediately with it. And so what I thought was I'd embroider that. Now I've got it on a hoop and it's on a bit of bias binding, so when it'll be folded at the end, but I've just opened it out to do this embroidery. So I'll just show you how I'm doing that. Now I wanted to kind of really use a sort of a split back stitch, but I'm realising it's actually quite tiny, so a lot of the little letters need just one line, really. I'm trying to just do tiny weeny little stitches to at least try and shape, you know, the rounds of like the H, the rounded bit. And I'm realising that the thread is quite thick, so I'm ending up making them a little bit bigger than they were. But I don't mind the handmade-y, you know, I don't mind that handmade look. So the reason I got a bit inspired, I'm in the textile, capital T, textile, artist, with a capital A, .org Facebook group, and every year they do about a 6-week challenge, and I've been looking back. So it's done by two guys, and their mum is Sue Stone, who is a textile artist in the UK, and she usually does the first lesson. And this year, so there's a whole range of last year's, so if you get into the Facebook group, this is already looking a bit silly, You can even find last year's challenges. But this year's challenge, and I can't remember the lady's name, she specialises in text in embroidery. I'll put the name in the frame as I'm editing and can go be at my computer. Meryl, I think her name is, and she makes the most beautiful things with text, so I thought I should be a bit braver. Now all of these things I know I sell them, and I was just listening to Susan Taylor Brown. Gosh, I'm actually not very good with names today, or any other day for that matter, talking about the keeping up with the Joneses and perfection, etc. So I was just about to say that in a vulnerable moment that even though I work full-time doing this, I still have moments where I'm learning, and I don't know that I've done a lot of this, and I don't know that I've done my E very well at all there. Luckily the T and the H will make it look like an E, I think. But I guess what I'm talking about is that it's really wonderful to be inspired by people. And Meryl did really inspire me this week. Anyway, Meryl's working on this gorgeous little top or dress or something that's all about motherhood and she's stitched, really inspired me. She wrote some things on some paper that she wished her mother had given to her. I don't know what the situation of her story with her mother was. And she then was stitching them at the back, so you could still see that there were ripped, torn bits of paper stitched to the fabric, but the words were in between, so the words were hidden because the paper was on the back and the stitching was on the front of the material, so the words were hidden under the material. Now I'm looking at this now and thinking maybe this thread is actually a bit too thick, because the whole point is being able to read it, and if you can't read it, it kind of spoils it, doesn't it? It defeats the purpose. So I'm not quite sure if I'm happy about that, but you know what I might do? What I might do is just try like one strand or something of the floss. See how that goes. One or two. Let me have a look. Right. So 2 is going to be a similar thickness. One sec. Okay. I've just decided I was going to try this floss out, maybe 1 or 2 strands, but in the end I've just got, it's actually a very dark blue cotton thread made in Great Britain, size 40, and I'm just using 2 strands, and that is far closer to what I'm looking for. So I am going to unpick that yellow, but for now I'm just going to cut it off, put it on the side there. So what I wanted to say was, Susan was talking about being creative people, how some people want to put us into a box, and the thing about being especially if you're a creative artist brain type. The thing is that we have to have our playtime. We have to be able to, we have to explore and experiment. And my writing's not going to be brilliant because I'm not really kind of used to doing these sorts of things, but it doesn't mean that I'm not learning. So it's a good, it's a good moment to be learning things. Yep, I prefer the black a lot more. I'd really like to be able to get it. I really would like to get it perfect, but the thing is, it's not going to be. It's just not. It's what's happening today. And the main thing for me will be that it's readable. That's really, that'll be the main thing, because it's just too beautiful a little haiku to not be readable. So one of the things Meryl was saying, and Sue Stone as well, from that group and the 6-week challenge, is that this writing on sewing writing is very much a work in progress anyway. It's not meant to be absolutely perfect. I am trying to do split stitches in a way so that it's a bit more creative, the writing. A bit more interest to the line. I definitely feel like I can read that better than the yellow for sure, so I'm happier with that. All right, I'm going to just complete this A. And I'll be back. I'm going to work on this. It's obviously really too long to do the whole lot, and I'm going to think about if I'm adding anything on here. These little hoops are so gorgeous. I'll unpick this. That's what I'm going to do, and I'll come back probably when I've got all of that finished, and we can reassess where we're up to then. I Okay, so here's the finished bit. Of course, as the haiku is called "In a Station of the Metro," I thought that I've added the black for the black bow. Apparition of these faces in the crowd. I haven't quite covered that, or petals, but or wet even. I don't think there's going to be any wet in this. I did think though that as it's in a station in the metro, that I thought about train tracks, and so I ended up doing this stitch around here. Now what I'm going to do is glue this down first before anything else, and it looks like my time's sort of running out, so it might end up having a part 3, as you do when you get busy. One of the things I love about this glue is that you can make sure all your little bits are sticking in. Right, now I did decide to put it in the middle. It's obviously going to have to bend. Okay, so there we have it. I think it'll be okay when it bends. And that'll be the end of part 2. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.